To see Rey Mysterio in action for the very first time is to find him utterly incomprehensible. On first glance, Mysterio appears diminutive, an undersized individual in a mask that seems destined for slaughter at the hands of larger foes. But once the San Diego native takes to the air for the first time before your eyes, that sensation you feel never goes away. How Rey Mysterio made you feel the first time you saw him breach the atmosphere with flawless spirals and spins is a feeling beyond description. And that in itself is the sign of his genuine greatness. Other masked marvels occupy the pantheon with their own legendary legacies, be they El Santo or Mil Mascaras or Jushin Thunder Liger, but Mysterio may as well be in a league of his own. For 3 decades, Rey has been a model of consistency, still able to drop your jaw with excess athleticism in his mid-40s just as he did when he was 18. We've seen brilliant performers by the boatload deteriorate at the altar of time, and yet Mysterio, even with an unsurprising accumulation of injuries, still manages to stupefy us all, and may continue to do so even further beyond our comprehension. I'm Sam from Cultaholic.com, and here are 10 things you didn't know about Rey Mysterio. Join us! Number 10. Teen Prodigy. It's not at all uncommon to hear of wrestlers that began their careers during their high school years, beginning training at 16 or 17 and getting their first match before their 18th birthday. When that day comes where their mortarboard gets thrown into the air, they've already begun to pay their dues on the local indie scene. Mysterio's tale is somewhat similar, but a little bit more impressive than that. As of April 30th, 2019, Mysterio will have been officially wrestling for 30 years. Yes, 30. The big 30. More years than I've been alive. He began his career at the tender age of 14 on April 30th, 1989. Just 4 weeks after Hulk Hogan dethroned Randy Savage at WrestleMania 5. You don't have to imagine a world where Mysterio was taking to the ring in the same month that Hogan and Savage were setting pay-per-view records as prime stars, because it actually happened. Trained by his uncle, Rey Mysterio Sr., he took to the ring just 4 months after his 14th birthday, at a point where most of us were just pissing about in DT, putting batteries in vices and stuff like that. Number 9. Friends from the neighborhood. Mysterio is one of a number of wrestlers for whom their hometown is a part of their professional identity. And as everybody knows, it's even in his finishing move, as 619 is San Diego's area code. You also hear that 3-digit number in Mysterio's entrance music, repeated throughout by POD lead singer Sonny Sandoval, following energetic incantations of the word Booyaka. For Sandoval, it's not a stretch for him to hail San Diego through the song. He and Mysterio may as well be neighbors, and in fact, they kinda, sorta were. Mysterio, Sandoval, and POD drummer Wolf Bernardo all attended the same school, Montgomery High School in San Diego. As the school serves grades 9 through 12, the 3 men would have all attended at the same time, as Sandoval and Bernardo both graduated in 91, while Mysterio followed them in 93. And it makes one wonder if the talk in the cafeteria among the future POD bandmates ever centered around the sophomore that wrestled under a mask on the weekends. Number 8. Roar of the Tiger. The 619 has been a staple of Mysterio's offense for a number of years. And though others, including Cesaro, have attempted their own versions of the move, the rope-grasping, leg-swinging attack remains synonymous with WWE's resident Giant Slayer. And because seemingly everything in wrestling is derived from something that preceded it, Mysterio's 619 is hardly his own invention. As an attack, sure, but the physical composition of the move comes from a wrestler just as legendary. The original name of the attacker's bodily movement is the Tiger Feint Kick, which comes from the original Tiger Mask, Satoru Sayama. Sayama's version of the move was not a strike to a prone opponent, but rather a fake out toward an opponent outside the ring. The weary opponent would be gathering his bearings on the floor outside the ring, to which an enterprising Tiger Mask would charge the ropes and perform the fluid 619 motion. The sight of Tiger Mask hurtling toward the ropes would cause the opponent to run away or duck down, to which Sayama would just swing his legs safely back into the ring, making his opponent look like a frazzled coward. Mysterio, taking inspiration from this, had used the move previously in its fake-out form before turning it into the life-altering kick. Number 7. Wasting little time. Mysterio found himself on the radar of tape traders and American promoters before long, first making his name in AAA and then later dazzling fans in Philadelphia and New York through appearances with ECW. By this time, Eric Bischoff was collecting cruiserweight studs like they were action figures and knew his set just wouldn't be complete without Mysterio. It didn't take long for WCW to put Mysterio to good use, debuting him on pay-per-view against cruiserweight champion Dean Malenko in a fantastic match with Malenko retaining the belt. 3 weeks later, on Monday Nitro in Orlando, Mysterio won the title from Malenko following another near-flawless 12.5-minute match. According to the extensive match records from CageMatch.com's database, this was merely Mysterio's 5th match with the company, and he was already the cruiserweight champion. You know your stock is high when 1. They debut you on pay-per-view, and 2. They strap the division to your back and light the fuse in match 5. Number 6. Can't save face. Mysterio's 5-year run with WCW would see its share of highs and lows, the lowest of which came at Super Brawl 9 in Oakland. On that night, he and Conan lost a match to Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, in which the hair of Miss Elizabeth in the outsider's corner was wagered against Mysterio's mask. Mysterio took the pin, and per the stipulation, he removed his mask, baring his face for the world to see. Mysterio said that he fought very hard against Eric Bischoff's decision to have him lose his mask due to what the mask means to his legacy as a wrestler. What also irked Mysterio was the fact that a luchador's unmasking is supposed to be a monumental moment, equivalent of Undertaker losing the streak if said luchador is a big enough star. And yet it was merely a throwaway mid-card match at a Super Brawl. Bischoff defended this decision by saying that Mysterio would have been better able to sell emotions and such without the mask on. WCW in 1999, ladies and gentlemen. Number 5. My name is Mysterio. WWE apparently knew something that WCW didn't. That if you leave the mask on Mysterio's head and you use him in a productive manner as a genuine star, then you can sell Mysterio masks by the truckload in the arena merchandise stands. WWE has never been one to let a merchandising opportunity slip through their grasps, and given how many kids are dazzled by Mysterio's superhero-like flight, that's a pretty easy sell right there. In 2002, when Mysterio signed with WWE, they insisted that he don the mask once more. However, as Mysterio noted in a 2015 shoot interview, at the time he was working on modifying his character into something more gladiator-like, and noted that some form of shoulder pads would have been part of the design. But once WWE told Mysterio that they wanted the masked version of him, he had no problems reverting to the Rey that we all came to recognize. Number 4. The Longest Hour. Mysterio was paying homage to Eddie Guerrero at the 2006 Royal Rumble when he entered in a lowrider. He dedicated his entire performance to Guerrero, and he would have plenty of time to make his good friend proud. The eventual winner entered at the number 2 position and survived for 1 hour, 2 minutes and 12 seconds inside the match before ousting Randy Orton for the win. According to Mysterio, he didn't find out that he was winning the Rumble match itself until the day of the show. While such a decision seems like it should have come weeks in advance, there were several issues at hand. For one, Orton was reportedly the original choice of winner and would have faced former ally Batista at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight title. But then that was scrapped when Batista got injured. Various officials and producers then began to lobby hard for a Mysterio victory as the ultimate feel-good moment, and it apparently took tons of persuasion for Vince to sign off on the idea. Given those factors, it's certainly possible that a decision to have Mysterio win could have well been at the last minute. Number 3. Hero worship. One of Mysterio's calling cards these days are his various cosplays as different comic book heroes and villains. Whether it was Daredevil at WrestleMania 19, Heath Ledger's Joker at 25, Captain America at 27, Mysterio has brought out some of his best gear on wrestling's biggest stage. But that's not to say it's the only time he does it. He's also dressed up for non-Mania events, including donning the gear of Wolverine for All In, the Phantom at Halloween Havoc 1997, and Silver Surfer for SummerSlam 2007. Paying tribute to larger-than-life comic book icons has had some downsides for Mysterio through the years. The Silver Surfer homage reportedly earned an angry rebuke from Vince McMahon, who didn't understand what Mysterio was supposed to be. But since the silver body paint was already applied, there was kinda no turning back. Mysterio also admitted on Sam Roberts' podcast that at one point he was even asked to stop wearing superhero-inspired outfits for fear of a possible lawsuit. Though something tells us if Rey was to ever dress as Deadpool, we could probably get a fantastic Ryan Reynolds cameo out of it. Number 2. The price he paid. Mysterio's gravity-defying acrobatics have essentially put him in a class all by himself. The likes of Ricochet and Will Ospreay might be knocking at the door, but longevity separates them from pro wrestling's truest king of flight. But all of those risks, bumps, crashes, and burns have come with an understandable toll. Some WrestleManias came and went with no sign of Rey Mysterio, and for good reason. Usually he was recovering from yet another surgical procedure with a long recovery time. Mysterio admitted in a 2018 interview with Al Arabiya in Dubai that before leaving WWE in 2014, he had 8 knee surgeries, which is to say 8 knee surgeries before his 40th birthday. He added that the constant injuries were the biggest reason for him parting ways with the company at that time, feeling that he needed to put his wellness before the continuous grind that is the WWE lifestyle. Now back in WWE at 44, he is hoping that Mysterio can continue to stave off the aging process while keeping his good health. And number 1, flying high again. As I said back at the start, perhaps the most impressive aspect of Mysterio's legacy is how he's managed to maintain his lofty performance standards for as long as he has, able to astound just as much today as he did in his 20s. Fans and critics for years have sung Mysterio's praises to the tune of consistent recognition. And given how many truly impressive high flyers there have been through the years, it takes a lot to stand atop the heap. Mysterio currently holds the record for most times having won the Wrestling Observer newsletter's Best Flying Wrestler Award, having been voted into victory on 6 separate occasions, 3 from 95 to 97 and thrice more from 2002 to 2004. Only 3 other wrestlers have earned the honor on 3 or more occasions: Ricochet 3 times, Kota Ibushi 4 times, and the legendary Jushin Thunder Liger 5 times. Others such as Will Ospreay, Satoru Sayama, the original Tiger Mask, and Owen Hart have taken the honor twice each. That's some highly impressive company for Mysterio to be in, and it's pretty damn hard to argue against Mysterio, even among rigid competition, being the greatest aerialist that has ever graced our eyes. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And no matter what you do, don't ever forget to hit subscribe and join us.